Welcome back, and let's move on. This episode, I will show you what is cleverness in the fortune telling standard, and I'll try to relate it with what we know scientifically about brain. Because I believe in the end, science should be able to explain everything. How fortune telling works should be related to how brain works. In the fortune-telling theory, Shield is a character that represents reasoning and logical thinking. Scientifically, reasoning and logical thinking is controlled by the part of brain called the neocortex, which is a part of brain only mammals have. The reason is mammals are mammals. Mammals' mothers have to take care of their children. Mammals developed neocortex because mammal mothers have to be able to make effective conscious decisions regarding to their children. Affective consciousness, such as sympathy, is about considering others in one's own place. So it involving something more complex than just emotion. Therefore, it becomes the foundation of the logical thinking and reasoning. So, in short, from the revolutionary point of view, the origin of consciousness is the love between mothers and children. So it makes a lot of sense that shield represents logic thinking and it also represents mother. So relatives is represented by character. Shield represents mother, money represents father, authority represents husband, and talents represents children, and money represents wife. So that's the review. In order, in case you forgot. Traditionally, in the fortune telling theory, the other sign of intelligence is talent. Talent is on the opposite of shield because shield overcomes talent. As long as two characters has an overcoming relation, we can say they are on the opposite, but not the exact opposite because they are 5 point, just 5 points like a star, like I said. It is easy to understand why rational thinking, which is shield, and creative subdue each other. Creativity is talent, is represented by talent. The more logical you are, the less options you have. And if you have a great imagination, people with great imagination usually are not too rational. That is because if the shield is too strong, then talent is being overcome. And if talent is being too strong, then shield is weakened because talent would consume shield. Because talent is the money of shield, and money is a weakening character, making making shield weaker. So they have a subdue each other's relation. On the other hand, logical thinking and imagination and imagining is complementary. So you need to have both to say that you are clever. Because without academic attitude, talent will stay as talent and won't turn into wisdom. And without the ability to express, because talent is release, is express, if you are not able to express well, thought will be restrained in the brain and cannot be understood by others, which is why clever people have both shield and talent in their structure. For example, Stephen Jobs, born at this time, and because that's 11 hour, that means it is 7:15 p.m. Unfortunately, I cannot write down anything because write down this word, this this file because this word is not paid. I did pay it, but expired in 2 years. I didn't know they didn't sell me this word, but to rent rent me this word. And the other example is Albert Einstein was born at this time. He was born in the noon, so that's 7 hour. So Stephen Jobs was special because he had nothing else but talent and shield, and they were both strong. So let's take a look at it. Talent is gourmet and rebel, and shield is guardian and owl, and he has nothing else but talent and shield. He has no strength, no authority, no money. And we say talent and shield. His talent and shields were both strong because, as we can see, talent is very strong, and shield there's only two, but this owl is taking the command, which is why we say they are both strong. So Jobs was clever and able to express. I mean, if the shield is too much stronger than the talent, then the person will be not able to express because the talent is being oppressed. So on the contrary, Einstein had a very strong owl, 1, 2, 3, and taken the command, and pretty weak rebel. This rebel has no root. So he has the autistic autistic problem when he was a child. Autistic problem, as we know, is a communication problem. Because his expressing ability is not as good as thinking ability, as we know that Einstein was a stutterer when he was a child. You know why people stuttered? Because they're thinking much faster than they can speak, like what I'm doing now. Thinking faster than speaking, then people would become stutter. This is his word. I very rarely think in word at all. A thought comes, I may try to express it in word afterward. This is what he wrote at such a place and such a time. 1982, can't be. So Einstein's thinking ability was better than the ability to express because his owl was much stronger than his rebel. The special thing about Einstein was his rebel 6 and owl 1 merge. There's a merge relation between these two codes. Indicate he used the right brain to understand. And then we come to Sharon Stone. Sharon Stone, if we look at his life code, it will be gourmet, sit on gourmet in the same column, and guardian, sit on guardian in the same column. So it is a very rare structure, and we can tell in the first sight that this is a very clever person. American actress Sharon Stone is famous for her high IQ, which is very obvious in her life code structure, because shield and talent represents cleverness, and both of his gourmet and guardian are very strong and clear because they are taken. Both of them are taken one column. Although some say it is a rumor that her IQ is 154, with a structure like this, it's a no-brainer for fortune tellers to tell that she must be very clever. Among talent characters, rebel people are famous for being smart, or sometimes being smart ass, because rebel people like to insult other people. And gourmet character is being known as its good taste of life. As we know, gourmet, what they like to cook, they like to talk, they like enjoy life. This is because clever is like beautiful. It is more of opinion than real quality. Rebel is obviously clever because rebel people like to think others are fools. They are showing off, their cleverness is on the outside. Gourmet is a same-sex reaction, a reaction without love. That's our way to say same-sex reaction. Therefore, gourmet people are more like to be alone, and their intelligence is known by less. So intelligence is like beautiful. Sometimes it is not your intelligence level is 200, his intelligence level is 180. It is like how much your intelligence can be known by others. If your intelligence is known by more, then we say you are more intelligent, right? In a way to see it, releasing means seeking satisfaction. Releasing emotion means seeking satisfaction. Rebel is a troublemaking character, and Gourmet is peaceful. Because rebel gain satisfaction over other people, it is a different sex reaction, therefore they like to deal with other people. Gourmet is a self-satisfied character. Therefore, gourmet people like to eat, like to talk, like to fantasize, like to dream about things, because those are what they need to be satisfied. And the gourmet people are easygoing, reasonable, and tolerant because they are contented. And that is another way to explain the definition of gourmet. Same-sex reaction characters are less fond of dating other people, so they make people quiet. So usually always same-sex reaction character are quieter than the different sex reaction character, like strength. Pirate like to deal with people. Comrades like to be alone, right? Gourmet is an exception. Gourmet is the exception because the nature of gourmet is compulsive discharge. So gourmet is the number one talkative and gossip character. So gourmet is compulsive talker. Gourmet people cannot keep their feelings to themselves, so don't expect a gourmet person can keep your secret. So if you have gourmet in the second row, and no gourmet in the first row, in the note it says you are gossip, but people don't know it. So if you see anybody like that, it's safe to say you are gossip, because he know himself that he is gossip, but not on the appearance. Talent is what ego creates. Therefore, talent people are very creative. In fact, a gourmet is more talented than rebel, because gourmet is compulsive discharging, and it discharges harder. As we know, same-sex react harder. Why is gourmet the most creative character? It is a good question. What is creation anyway? Don't you think cooking is the most essential creative behavior in all human behaviors? So what I mean is, cooking is the most essential creative behavior in all human behaviors, because human history are most about the Stone Age and hunting that age. That age is much longer than we have the, like say we have the culture, country, anything like that. And during that age, cooking is the maybe the only creative behavior and inspire all the other behaviors that people do. For example, because we are cooking, then we are inspired to be creative, and because we are cooking, then fire would help us digest, and we have a surplus nutrition to develop our brain. So we can say that cooking is the most essential creative behavior that shapes human. And we see example, Isaac, or Isaac, I have no idea. As Asimov was born at this time. So this person was a Russian-born American author, best known for his sci-fi works. Although I cannot pronounce his name, but I know who he is. So let's look at his life code. Gourmet, 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 gourmet. Not only taking the command, but the root, and it got generated by the comrade, because as we know, strength generates or grow talent. So this gourmet is extremely strong. He was also a professor of biochemistry and the vice president of Mensa. Mensa is a high intelligence organization. So being a successful writer, being a professor of biochemistry, and being a member and even a vice president of Mensa, that all of them can prove that he was a very intelligent man. And obviously his intelligence was from gourmet, because he has nothing else, right? And it makes a lot of sense. Gourmet people are gossip. Gossip means read between lines, making up scenarios in the head. Seems to me, and gossip is a natural creative power, because they are creating something from nothing, right? If they are reading something, they can create any other things in their head, and that's how rumor comes out. And it is perfect, and gossip is perfect for composing stories, especially sci-fi, science fictions, and fantasies. Does it make sense? Of course. What does he do? He's a writer of science fiction and fantasies. So, so it makes a lot of sense that Asimov have a life code like this. And another example, called Han Han. This is Chinese people. He also has very strong gourmet because it has two gourmet taking the command, and if you can remember, 10 is 100% metal. It has no residue property, so it's even stronger. And it got generates by a strength this comrade and this pirate. This two generates this two, grows this two. So his gourmet is very strong too. So who the person is? Han Han is a Chinese professional rally driver, author, best-selling author, singer, creative of a party. This is a magazine, and one of the most popular blogger. He was in dispute since high school because he wasn't a good student. He hates teachers. As we know, gourmet is talent. Talent overcomes authority. Therefore, people has strong talent don't take orders. It is obvious with Ribble because Ribble is active. It is not obvious with Gourmet, but sometimes it shows. He hates teacher, but he had a novel published and sold more than most writer in China, and that is why he was in dispute when he was in high school. People dispute about is that means he's bad student? Is that means we need to change our education, or is that means that is not a good thing for children to do, right? Nowadays, because he's 1982, he's pretty mid-aged now. Nowadays, Han Han has become one of the most popular author in China. To be honest, there is not much profound artistic value in his novels. People like his writing because he can make interesting and creative comments about ordinary events. So what he writing about are all ordinary events, but the interesting is about how he talk about it. Seems to me this ability is called gossip, and thanks to the strong gourmet. Intelligence is a wide and uncertain concept. For most people, intelligent means high performance in some areas. One research shows that a recent research, maybe last year, shows that unfaithful men have a lower IQs. But lots of people believes that men who are able to commit adulteries are more able in other areas. So people have very different ideas about what is capable, what is intelligence. Some research shows that intelligence men people are happier. Yet most people agree that for in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increase knowledge increase sorrow. This is from the Bible. So this is some people believe intelligence people happier. Some people believe intelligence are more depressed, and they both of them make some sense. Lots of scientists believe that adequate sleep is crucial to brains, and yet some successful people wrote book to claim that less sleep made them more energetic. That's what we said money. If your brain become less sensitive, then you will become more active because if your brain become less sensitive, you will lose interest to the impractical stuff. People have different opinion. That's what I said. People have different opinion at intelligence because they are referring to different areas of brain function, which is, I say, intelligence is an uncertain concept. And sometimes what we believed to be high performance in some areas doesn't even indicate a good brain function. For example, biology decides a human tend to choose more intelligent people as a partner for life, that's a husband or wife, in order to have children with more competitive advantage. However, lots of descendants of great scientists are suicides and psychopath, or they have some mental disease. Alcohol, that's clearly not a good, that's not a reflection of good brain function, right? If you have disease in your brain. So alcohol, drug, and this thing, and like dehydrate, um, kidney failure. All of this would damage your brain, but this thing would make your brain cells sending random signals and connect two neurons that won't connect in a normal circumstance. And a new connection is a new idea. So by drinking, doing drugs, by dehydrate, you may get some new idea you won't get when you are sober, right? Chinese poet Li Bai was known as the Wine Immortal because he was very creative after drinking. But we cannot say drinking make people's brain better, right? Lots of great minds are under the influence of drugs, such as Samuel Tyler and cannot pronounce, John cannot pronounce, and Henry this, and John P. and Paul something. Not to mention Michel Foucault. It's interesting that I know all of them, but I cannot pronounce none of them their names. Uh, there's no evidence to prove that these people did drug, but I know it. I know they use drugs, and I guess this person did drugs too. My point is, what appears to be clever might be just a malfunction of the brain. To me, intelligence means overall good brain function because I'm doing fortune telling theory. In the fortune telling theory, this description of people must be a definition of people. There must be a precise definition. Otherwise, when I say A, you might understand B because those words are too wide and uncertain. And to me, intelligence means overall good brain function. Therefore, the traditional view that a shield and talent are intelligent character, which is not correct. The correct way to say is shield and talent are spiritual characters, bring the high performance in the conscious mental activity, which doesn't prove the better overall brain function because the brain has other functions too because other characters have their own high performance area too. And we comes to Tom Cruise. Briefly about Tom Cruise life code like this. He's determined, independent because he has comrade as favor, right? Comrade, if we say it in a good way, then we can say determined, independent, and endurance. And, and he is skillful and adventurous because he has very strong money. This money is taking the command and being grown and being generated by these two gourmet because talent and grow money. He has a bad relation with father because he has gambler at this position. This is a piece of note which we didn't look. And the reason of his divorce, I'm not sure which one because he divorced more than once. It's simple. Another guy took her from him because his self code is 9, he has another 9 as comrade, and both of the 9 merge with a gambler 4 containing 7 because 7 is a negative fire. 4 is negative. We can say there's a 4 inside the 7 because 4 is negative 5. All these two merge with this. So it's called fight to merge, representing two men still fighting over one woman. So the reason of his divorce, maybe one of them is his wife just being stolen by another man, and you don't know it because they are celebrities. They don't tell the truth. There is no shield character in this life code, not even in the hidden characters, because 3 contains gambler and slaughter. 3 contains earth and fire. 3 is wood, and 7 contain the earth. And he has 9 self code, which is water. Water's shield is metal. He has no metal from the front line, no metal in the basal line, no metal in the hidden line. So nothing, not a single drop of shield character. So he has strong money and no shield at all, which is why he doesn't like to read. He has no interest in the academic area. But it doesn't mean he is not an intelligent person. As we know, Tom Cruise is a very capable man in his own area. He can do a lot of things people cannot do. Money is a practical character. As the word says, if you really want to do something, you will find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse, which is why shield and talent people are good at coming out with good ideas, and money people are good at managing to make things happen. That's the specialty of money, and that can be called intelligent too, right? So money is strong in some area of intelligence too, and that area is called implementation capacity. So the ability to get to do something. Furthermore, the money people usually have some kind of craftsmanship, and the money represents skills. And the next example, Jennifer Tilly. So lots of people in the show business are very intelligent. Jennifer Tilly is an actress and the voice of a lot of cartoons. So he is an actress and a voice actress. No, not his, her. Her life coach shows she has an extraordinary mind because she has gourmet and gourmet in a column, collector and collector in a column. So just like a Sharon Stone, he has very strong character and very clear. It is very rare to have both gourmet and collector in such a strong and clear condition, just like Sharon Stone. Strong gourmet and collector indicate that she is a chubby and clever lady because a gourmet would make people fat and a collector would make people fat. Her intelligence has been proven. In addition to her acting career, she is a champion poker player, beating 600 other players in a tournament. I remember in Las Vegas, called some bracelet tournament. So in order to become a champion poker player, you have to be clever, right? And this cleverness is about not about reading books. It's about to actually winning something, actually getting something done, actually to achieve something. Many people they don't have so many theories, but they are good at winning games and they are skillful. Seems to me the word skillful means good movement control. And a good movement control is about accurate anticipation of the reactions. If you can react, if you know what things will react, then you have a good movement control. Then we say you are skillful. As we learned before, many people are good at putting themselves in other people's places, and with a sense of advantage because money overcome the self code overcomes others. So the self code, which is our ego, has the sense of advantage. So many people are good at winning games is probably that's an explanation, but not a certainty because they can read minds. That's a way we can say about it. Because she can read minds, she is good at playing psychological games. Then she became a champion poker player. She becomes a champion poker player not because she can, let's say, doing math. Because I remember this poker game is Texas poker. It's not about calculating. It's about guts. It's about dealing with people. Let's see another person with two collectors in the line and in the month column. Month column is stronger than these three because this position is called commander's position. The power of this code double. David Lynch, the film director, he is good at analyzing people's mind too. He is a film director, but I know he's good at analyzing people's mental thoughts. I know that because his movie. Just check out his movie if you don't know why I say that. One is called The Lost Highway. The other one is Mulholland Drive. And if you saw those movies, you will know why I say he is very good at analyzing people's mind, conscious mind and conscious mind. And in the traditional theory, another sign of high intelligence is strong slaughter. So a slaughter is another sign of high intelligence. So we have three now: slaughter, we have shield, we have talent, and money is a kind of high intelligence too. So basically anything, but they are representing different area of brain. Strong slaughter is a sign of high intelligence. For slaughter people, life is a fight for survival because they are being pressed. That is why they have to have a sharpened mind because they are being against fast reaction and alertness. The better word to say slaughter intelligence is called mental acuity, or we call the killer instinct. For example, Quentin Tarantino. He has slaughter, 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 and something to grow slaughter, and slaughter has something to grow. Something to grow slaughter, and slaughter has something to grow. Gambler grows slaughter, and slaughter would grow guardian. All Quentin's movie have the same topic, revenge. We know Quentin Tarantino had a lot of movie and a lot of topic about it, but there's one topic that all his movie is about revenge. It's like Kill Bill, like Pulp Fiction. If you see all of his movie, I mean every one of his movie has the topic of revenge. Because of slaughter is vengeful, thus in the description of slaughter. It is pretty easy to guess correctly that Quentin's main character is Slaughter. His slaughter is not only strong but also smooth, that's because it has both import and outport, export. So it has supporting and something to support. That's the best condition a character could have in a life code, making him a famous smart guy and a member of Mensa. Because he's a member of Mensa, then we know he's a smart guy. Otherwise, just watching his movies, I don't know, because movies are lots of people cooperating. Is the result of lots of people cooperating. And this person is called Kim An Yong. His life code and Quentin's life code is very similar. This part is exactly the same. Character-wise and code-wise, exactly the same. And the same self-code. The only thing different is this position, spouse position. One is guardian, one is gourmet. Kim and Yong has almost the same life code as Quentin, and they have because they have the same year. They have the same year column, same month column because they were born in the same month of the same year. So 1963 March, 1963 March, and the reason where it is. And the reason they have the same self code, it is 6 and it is 6. If they have different self code, even these codes are the same, then the character would be different. The reason they have the same self code is because Kim is exactly 20 days older than Quentin. So this code is 1 to 10. Every 10 days it comes back. So 20 days from 6 come back to 6. So they are 90% the same person. Kim and Yong is listed in the Guinness Book of World Record under the highest IQ. The book give him the score as give him an IQ of 210 when he was a boy. That is because slaughter is stress on ego. Stressful stimulation brings the highest performance in the short time, just like people run faster when a tiger is chasing, which is why slaughter creates the child prodigy type of high intelligence people. So when is the because slaughter is something against you. If let's say someone beat you up, says you have to do this, otherwise I'll kill you, then you are in the highest performance, but in a short time, because people run faster when the tiger is chasing, but people cannot run faster when the tiger is chasing him all the time, right? Like I said, language is not delicate enough to describe people's attribute. There are three different qualities we call creative. First is talent character is creative as its true sense because talent people are good at generating something out. For example, rebel people are good at generating offensive words they like to say, right? Gourmet are very good at generating food, generating word. They are good at making something out. And our people are usually good at something unusual, and we call that creative too. They are creative in finding shortcuts because they are, suspicious. They are they like to delay, and they like to find an easy way to do things. To be specific, owl are observant. They are good at noticing something or relating something other people would overlook. So they are good at looking for an unusual way to do things. And last but not least, slaughter people are creative too. It is safe to give prediction. If you see a slaughter people, you can say you are creative because they are good at thinking outside the box. This is because slaughter is a rivalry relation, is something against your ego, and the ego is the weak because it is being against. If the weak wants to defeat the strong, it must not follow the usual rule, which is why slaughter people they don't use usual way to do things. As we learned, slaughter people have the spirit of sacrifice. They can be a saint or thugs, depending on whether they have something noble to believe in. And that's our first chapter after introducing character. They are the most disciplined as well as the most unruly people. They are the great people and the worst people. Dirty player who always hit below the belt. That means dirty people are usually slaughter people. That is because bad method, uh, insidious method give people the advantage of the unbalanced information, and the slaughter people are desperate enough to take that advantage because they would do whatever necessary to win, to achieve their goals. And that is why slaughter people are called military materials in the history of China. Like people say, all is fair in love and war. So in the battlefield, no matter how dirty method you put out, people won't say you're against the rule, right? Of course, slaughter people can make success in other areas than the battlefield because they are intelligent, they are ruthless, they are able to do whatever, they are able to use whatever means to achieve their goals. People like Thomas Edison, Elvis Presley, and Bill Gates all have heavy slaughter. However, these three people's success are uh, all of the three people's success are associated with theft. I mean, if we talk about Bill Gates' success, always something says he stole from some person, or Elvis Presley, he stole from a black culture, something like that. And probably because stealing is slaughter is related to theft, because probably because stealing is a stressful action, and slaughter people are obsessed with stress, or maybe they think too much outside the box. Whatever, slaughter has been always a sign of stealing in the fortune tell theory. As one of notes said, heavy slaughter in the second line in the basal line indicate the person like to steal, or have the desire to steal but not yet to put that in action, right? Have the urge to tempt fate. And we see some example. Frank Abagnale, and Carlos Carlos Kaiser. Frank Abagnale was you know who he is. He's an imposter, check forger, identity thief. He assumed no fewer than 8 identities as a pilot, doctor, something, officer, lawyer. He escaped from the police custody twice before 21. His story was adapted into a movie, Catch Me If You Can, with Tom Hanks and Leonardo. I'm not sure. I am sure lots of people heard about him because of the movie. And Carlos Kaiser is less known. He's a Brazilian. Let me introduce. He's called the greatest liar in soccer history. Talking about liar in soccer history, most likely we would think about divers, players diving to be to the ground to appears as foul has been committed. So he's just to say pretend hurt. However, this guy took the word liar to another level. He pretended to be a professional soccer player, which he is not. He's just an ordinary people. He deceived a major club into giving him a contract, As soon as he would make his appearance on the training pitch, when the coach will see he cannot play soccer, he pretend to get hurt. The strategy is simple but risky. Kaiser has to improvise in many cases of emergencies. For example, a coach insists to put him on the pitch despite his injury. Then he would start a fight and get a red card before everybody recognizes his inability. Using his ability to making friend, his dare, his trickery, he managed to build a 20 years career as a soccer player without having to play soccer. So he pretended to be a soccer player for 20 years and nobody noticed. Frank Abagnale and Carlos Kaiser because they're still alive, both imposters. They both accomplish something unimaginable using their daring and wit. They both publish books to confess what they have done after they retire from the criminal world. From the point of view of fortune telling, they have the same character. The only difference is the characters are at the different positions. So they all have slaughters, two slaughters. They both have a pirate to empower them, and they all have a mix of money. Mix of money means gambler and collector. They both have slaughter, pirate, gambler, and collector, and no gourmet, no shield. Slaughter gave them the mentality to tempt fate, and a mix of money make them interested in making money, but cannot choose which way to go. And pirate bring the recklessness to break laws, because pirates would make people strong enough to break laws. We will talk about pirate later. So back to the topic of intelligence. Actually, I mentioned this is an old version of my book. Actually, here I made amendment. I put a new paragraph, few new paragraph, to discuss how to control slaughter. Their slaughter are serve as foe and make them criminal because their slaughters are not at control. Slaughter is the reason I put it as our first character to learn because it's a special character. You because it's bad, you need to put them in control in order to make them favor. How to control it? Either have shield because slaughter will grow shield and help the self code, or you have gourmet. Use a peaceful character to suppress the violence of slaughter. So it is not an accident that these two person all have something to control the slaughter, and this two person they all have something to grow the slaughter, but nothing to control the slaughter. No gourmet and no shield. And in the paragraph I use the example of Steve Wozniak to show how to control slaughter. Okay, back to the topic of intelligence. Our conclusion is different character represents different functional brains. Use the most of any character can bring extraordinary mind. So if all the most clever people, the reason they are clever because they have one or two very strong character. People have with high intelligence usually have a strong and clear structure. They don't have too many different characters messed up and disturb each other. And I'll stop here because next I will talk about something else. And see you in the next episode.